Pin this and let me tell you my story. So I met this girl while I was in my first year University of Ghana. He was going for a position and we met through his campaigns. I would see him sometimes and we'd exchange pleasantries. He was very popular then. So vacation came and I went home. I had a call from an unknown number at home. I answered it and it turned out to be him. I had no idea who it was, so I opted to call him later, which I never did. He texted me and said it was him. Let's call him Kojo. I was surprised because he never asked me for my number. It was a long vacation and boredom had set in. Everyone was trying to revive a conversation some way, somehow. That's how we began. We started talking the whole day, texting till the conversation came. He asked me if I had a boyfriend. At the time, I was having talking with someone too, but we weren't officially dating. I was in first year. I didn't want to rush into stuff I might regret. I wanted to find myself and find my feet first in the university. So I told him yes, I was dating just to get him off my plate. At a point, the conversation died. So school resumed and we met in person in the library. He knew my room as well. He was coming to visit from time to time. I didn't think it was a special visit since he was going for a position anyway. He would make jokes about me being his wife. I didn't pick any signals. Then officially, he told me he liked me and wanted me to give him a chance. I told him politely that I wasn't ready. That time, I was afraid he might want more than I could offer. That was a major fear, especially about sex and intimacy. I was a novice. He kept pushing. It went like that for a year until my second year, when accepted on the terms that I couldn't offer him sex or do certain stuff. He accepted and told me we could always figure something out, what would work for the both of us. I was from a very strict Christian home with strict parents. We went on dates. I made sure we were not alone on in isolated places. He didn't complain until one time he wanted to visit me in my room. My roommate had gone home, so I was all alone. I felt he was such a gentleman and won't try to make me do anything against my will, so I allowed him over. We started talking, then we settled to watch a movie. It was around 7 p.m. The movie lasted for over 2 hours. It had started raining, so it was getting late and it was still raining. So I didn't have a choice than to allow him to sleep over. So I thought to myself, I could sleep on my roommate's bed so he can have mine. Things got awkward. I had to take my bath. I took my clothes to the washroom and wore them there since he was in the room. So I came back into the room. I naturally have body that reveals my body regardless of what I wear. So I came back to my bed and we picked up a conversation. And I told him he could have my bed since it was late and it was raining. He didn't like the idea. I ignored him and went to lie on my roommate's bed. He came to me and told me I should trust him and we wouldn't do anything I wasn't comfortable with. My heart was racing, but some way, somehow, he drew me into a kiss. It happened fast. I can't remember the series of events. I withdrew and told him I thought he said we weren't going to do anything. He apologized and said he just couldn't control it, but we slept together anyway till the next morning. I was super dramatic about it. When he left the next morning, I decided to end things right there. I was too afraid for what was sure to come. But we kissed again before he left. He didn't want to exit the relationship or whatever it was. He called me during the day. I didn't answer. He did win in the long run, but it took him 2 years. I wanted to just ignore him and move on like we had never met. He tested me. I just told him I was no longer interested in any relationship anymore. I ignored his calls and messages for days. Guess what? He didn't stop. I felt I was being too dramatic. Maybe we can still just talk. After a few weeks of ignoring him, I decided to reach out to him. When I did, he ignored me too. So everything rekindled again after like a month. Then he said he would still try to kiss me. He asked me if I was scared of getting pregnant. I told him I didn't want to lose the V card. It was precious to me or to my family perhaps. Around this time, I started develop feelings for him. He played his card well with a bit of manipulation to get me to succumb to what he wanted. We started dating officially, and the farthest we did was to kiss. Time went by. He said we could get away to pleasure ourselves without penetration. I was already falling slowly for him. I agreed. That's how we would do everything aside penetration. I remember one time he fingered me. I had slight bleeding. I became afraid that I had broken my virginity. So went the whole year without penetration. The next year into the relationship, he started pressuring me about it. When we got to the edge, he would ask me if he could, and I would always say no. All this time, he wasn't even really giving me attention. He would go to the whole week without even calling me. It was fine. I wasn't someone who really needed attention, but at least he could just check up on how I was doing. I figured he was busy. He had to attend meetings and all those things students leaders do. But no one is too busy for the person they really care about. But I decided to just let things be and not make rash decisions. We continued the way we were until one time he told me he knows he's not being the best boyfriend, and that's not because he doesn't care about me. Some time ago, I found that he hooked up with his ex and told her he was sorry and that he was in a relationship. I don't check people's phone, but he gave me his phone to watch things, and I saw text to him that she wanted him back. My heart dropped. I didn't ask him. I just pretended nothing has happened. I just pretended nothing has happened. I was willing to let it go, but after 3 months, I saw another red flag. I asked him about it. I wanted him to tell me the truth. He told me he didn't have anything serious with her, admitted they had sex once, and that was it. Went ahead to call the girl in front of me to confirm what he said. It was disrespectful on his side though. She would have felt disrespected. I told him we could have solved our issue without adding a third person and also hurting her feelings. I felt really bad too. I took the girl's number and guess who it was? My coursemate who was a bit of a friend. It made everything worse. No matter what you do, don't date your friends' boyfriends. It makes things really awkward. I apologized to her and it deepened the friendship. We went from coursemate to eating together and she started coming to my room. I was basically best pals with my boyfriend's ex. She told me everything that happened between them and how they dated and ended. Apparently, the time we were doing the 2 a.m. talks, they were still dating. They dated for 3 months or something like that. He told me I wasn't giving him any attention. I said I didn't want him, so he moved on with her, but it didn't work. Boys lie, who knows? I took her side on issues and got him to apologize. Now on to us. Things went back to him ignoring me. So I told him I wanted to quit since he wasn't serious about me anyway. He came over right that day, told my roommate to apologize to me. I loved him, decided There was no perfect man, so I could give him another try. We did try again. We had a nice relationship, cooking together, learning together a few times, and he would tell me his issues in student politics. I just listened, not necessarily gave him advice. Maybe he just needed a listening ear. Same on and off behavior continued. He didn't show up times we made plans for. He wouldn't even call to say something that he couldn't come. After we will have a fight about it. Became frequent, so I stopped expecting. I reciprocated the same energy he was giving me. Vacations came. We went back to school. We met sometimes at home until third year. Things took a roller coaster ride. I stayed one time during 2 weeks vacation, and that's when it happened. I didn't go home because there was still some academic work to do. He tested me really early that he wanted to come over. I agreed and he came. I made food for both of us and we started doing the usual things we were doing. And then he asked me if I wanted to try. At that point, I wasn't thinking. I just said yes. A man had brought condoms, meaning he planned it. After everything, he stayed for a few hours. I was felt ashamed and kind of emotional after. I started bleeding too, and oh, it was painful. Don't let anyone lie, it isn't. It was. It took a long time to get through. That wasn't the problem. He stayed for an hour or two and left. I felt really sad and felt he had gotten what he really wanted. So he didn't text me, ask how I was doing. He called me in the evening and it was like nothing had happened. It went like that for days, so I told him not to ever text me or call me ever again. We were so done. I was broken. Fast forward, school resumed. I had to dress up and show up like nothing happened. He didn't come over. He only said, really, that was all. No conversations for like a whole week. I became really sad and heartbroken. All this just so he could get into my panties. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I even got high once at a place to get over what I was feeling. At that point, I had things I thought I wouldn't do and the things I was scared of happened to me. I couldn't even breathe. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stand nor sit. I was going insane. That is not the end. We stopped talking for some time. He texted me a week after. I was determined to move on. He kept calling or texting sometimes, but it was cold, awkward conversation for like 3 months that we decided to try and settle stuff. It was his idea, so we went on a date. On the date, I told him we couldn't continue. He hurt me too much, and what shows he won't still do the same. This was also his final semester in school. Then he opted for best friend. Now I was going to do best friend. We would just end up together again and call it best friend, and that's even worse. He admitted he was wrong. He hadn't given me enough attention. So why did it take him 3 months to show up? All that time he was only texting me. Said he needed to reflect on things and he had wronged me in any way. He was ashamed to come over. He was afraid about my reaction. Those 3 months, only God knows how I managed to keep my life together. I was going crazy. Emotional pain is way painful than the physical. My heart was hurting more than the pain felt when he broke me. I just needed emotional support, which he wasn't available to give. So, one time I had posted something I wanted and he showed with the thing. I didn't take it. I just said thank you and I didn't want it. Then he texted me, I miss you. I just ignored. I had missed him so badly also, but I didn't want to feel the same thing I felt 3 months ago. I can't be friends with someone I have feelings for. I have not had anyone else ever since. I didn't want to get into any relationship anymore. It would have been a rebound. I would be using him to get over Kojo. So we started talking again. It hurt When you ignore all the good men and settle for someone who eventually hurts you. Everyone loves an emotional wrecker. You can't decide who to fall in love with. I'm in my last year, but he is done. I wanted him to be truthful to me. I didn't want to be going around in circles. I was getting old for that. I invited him over again. We were watching movies the whole day. My roommates were there. I followed him to his place, well aware of what I wanted again. Every time we alone together, something funny happened. This time, there was no light. He didn't force me. It was me who took off his clothes. For the whole 3 months, I did nothing. I didn't know I'll miss the stuff we had been doing before the sex. I wanted it more than ever. It's easier when you haven't tried. This time, I didn't care what he would do after. I was fine. If he ghosted again, I wasn't going to be all clingy because we had sex. I was still ready to let him go, but he wouldn't leave me alone. We were stuck on each other like ants and sugar. No sense of direction. I don't know how to break off from him. It's like we just running in circles. Right now, my question is, what are we? He clearly doesn't want to be with me or want me to be with someone else, or I'm just being hasty, or should I give it another time?